time, yeah, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah, this is tea time, yeah, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, good morning and welcome to a new month. That's right, we are back here for a full new month of Tea Time in May. And this morning I have the beautiful, bold, and gorgeous black nurse Gwendolyn Lane. That's right. She's going to be talking about, and she's at work. So if we have to cut short, it's because she's working and doing her duties. So I really want to give a good shout out to all those nurses out there that are working and keeping us all strong and healthy out there. A big thank you. So let's get started really quickly because I don't want to lose her. So disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live shows. Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forward dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the giving time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussions for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in today's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you decide that this show is not for you at this time, I respect those wishes and will see you at a later show at a later date and time. And again, all Tea Times this year are done on a Thursday unless they are rescheduled, which will be a Monday or Tuesday. So let me give you a little bit on who Gwendolyn Lane is. She is a certified registered nurse practitioner who assists nurses and medical professionals get beyond the bedside by launching worthwhile product businesses. She helps her clients develop their e-commerce side hustle to establish a new and profitable stream of income. Your journey to a better life starts today. She's the founder of Bold, Black, and Beautiful Nurses, and I'm going to welcome her in and get her to spill a good, strong cup of tea with you this morning. So let me get Gwendolyn in here. Welcome,
Hello.
Gwendolyn.
Hi, how are you?
I am not too bad. And yourself, it is an honor
Oh,
to have you here. And thank you so much for tuning in and joining me from work. I really appreciate that, Gwendolyn.
I'm happy to be here.
So, Gwendolyn, let's get right into it because I don't want to lose you. I know you're busy.
Yes.
Uh, how did it all start? How did you get into nursing and all of that good stuff?
Initially, I wanted to be a pediatrician, but then life happens. I married young, had a family. So went back to school in my 20s and decided I wanted to be a nurse, but I didn't want to stay at the bedside for the majority of my career. So I knew that although I would be doing direct patient care, I wanted to do it in different ways. So I decided to become a nurse practitioner.
So, where'd you get this name, Bold, Black, and Beautiful Nurses from?
So I did see something that said bold, black, and beautiful. And then I was like, you know what? We are nurses. So that is how I decided to name the group Bold, Black, and Beautiful Nurses.
So when you hear those words bold and black and beautiful all together, what do you think?
Nurses who are African American or, as we say, melanated of a different race or culture, but that are stand in what they believe they're good nurses, and they're out there being bold and courageous and performing their duties.
I really want to thank you for your duties. Sometimes we don't say enough thank yous to the nurses. And I
Hmm.
really want to thank you as a Black African woman, making that strong point that you can be nurses too. For the little girls out there that are listening, this is true empowerment. You can be anything you set your mind to. And that's what Gwendolyn is here for, is to show you that you can be bold and beautiful, and stand tall. Uh,
Yeah.
so, what message do you have for the little Black African girls out there?
The message I have really is for anyone. Though whatever you decide to do, you can achieve it. Like I said, I went back to school later in life to become a nurse, but never quit and never let someone tell you that you can't be what you set out to be. A lot of people come from different areas of life, um, and sometimes it's associated with a struggle. But once you um, put your best foot forward and continue to push on, you can achieve whatever you set your mind to do.
So we have a question here. How old were you when you became a nurse?
Okay, and now I have to do some math. So
That gives our
uh,
ages away, doesn't it?
I think I may have been 28 or 29. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
And
maybe
how
like 30.
and how long have you been nursing?
Wait a minute.
I know, right? That's like a setup question. It's like, hey guys, you're gonna know my age.
So I have been a nurse. I have been a registered nurse since 2004. Right? Did I
Wow.
do the math right? Yeah, since 2004. So that's 19 years, right? Yeah. And so
Wow.
I became a nurse practitioner in 2013.
That's a long time. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So you're coming around to the 20 year mark.
Yes, it's coming.
So any big celebrations for all of this hard work?
No, you really have to love what you do. So nursing for me is rewarding. Being able to help people go from it depends on where you work, but like in a hospital, going from acute illness to be able to go home, whether it's to rehab or to your home, that's rewarding. Being able to help a student who may be in need, that's rewarding. So the big celebration, if you know anything about nurses, we usually don't get those, but if you desire to help people, that is your reward.
That is truly amazing. And I want to thank you again. And I'm really passionate about nurses because my youngest daughter is a nurse. And she works
Ah,
in the
so you know
surgery.
firsthand.
Yeah, she works in the surgery department. Yes, so I'm really, really big heart for nurses. And I really appreciate what they do because I know what my daughter goes through in that as well. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Gwendolyn, again for that service. And
Thank you.
so, Gwendolyn, besides nursing, you also have a business, a home care business. Could you
I
tell us a
do.
little bit about that as well?
So home care is becoming the way to go for, I mean, if you haven't noticed, people go to the hospital and you don't stay long. Before you would have a baby and you would stay for 5 days. Now you have a baby, you can go home the next day. Well, home care is for, it could be for children, it could be for elderly, it could be for those with special needs. Whatever it is, it's you receiving all the services or most of the services you had in the hospital within your home. However, my agency is mainly focused towards the elderly population, and direct care workers go into their home and help them with their ADLs, which could be helping them make their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, helping them get dressed, tidying up their home, and companionship.
So, and how long have you been doing that for?
I want to say about 5 years.
And
Yeah.
what has that taught you about yourself as an individual?
Entrepreneurship can be hard.
Right?
I
It
mean,
is not an easy job. Like
no, it
that's why
is
we get
not.
gray hairs faster.
I think though it's taught me to stick in her. The same thing I would tell a young person who desires to be a nurse, right? It's not easy, but when you set a plan and you put it into action, it can work. And so that's the same thing I have to do in this business. Continue on the plan that I have set for it, and then it's been working pretty good.
So we have a question here. What is
Sure.
harder, nursing or home care
For me personally, or for someone else?
for yourself?
I would definitely say nursing. As an owner, I'm not on the field every day taking care of the clients, but I do have to schedule them. I do have to have assessments done for my new onboarding, for my clients. I have to have all the back office stuff complete and ready for not only the caregiver, but to ensure, I mean, the client, but to ensure that my caregiver has everything they need to be successful on the job. Nursing is a whole other it's a whole other animal. Nursing can be like really hard. It can be very stressful. So it has to be nursing.
It
Every
has to be
time I'll
nursing.
probably choose nursing.
Could you tell us five things about nursing that we might not know?
That you might not know with WebMD. I don't know. What five things? I'm just joking. I'm trying to think of five things that you would. Um, like that's a broad question. What about like in what area of nursing? Because most people don't know that nursing is really broad. Like you're not just there's
And
so many
I
other
think that's
things
what
you
they're
can do.
looking for is they want to know like how broad it is because we really don't know how much nurses do, right?
Yeah, but they you have to also understand the different types of nursing there is.
Oh,
So
there's
you
different types.
Yeah, so you could be a licensed practical nurse. For years, they mainly worked in the nursing homes, but now I think with such a shortage, they're starting to integrate them back into the hospital and doctors' offices. And then there's registered nurses. And so, as a registered nurse, you can have a 2 year degree or a 4 year degree or a master's degree. So, you can work in direct patient care in the hospital, like your daughter, in surgical areas. You can work in the jails. You can do all types of things. And then there's advanced practice nurses like myself. I'm a nurse practitioner, or you could be a midwife, or you could be a nurse anesthetist. So there's so many things that you can do as a nurse. So to say what we don't know in nursing, there's probably so many things that you don't know. What would you
Yeah.
like to know?
Well, and that's the thing, right? A lot of people just think, oh, we go to school all the same. But you just mentioned 2 4 years masters. There's so many different degrees
And
and
doctorate.
levels of nursing, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people will hear, well, you're a nurse. Okay, you take care of the patients before the doctor comes in. Like they don't realize how much is behind nursing.
Yeah.
And I
And a
think
lot of times nurses are they direct the care, not to take anything away from the doctor, but the nurses are on the ground. They're the ones making sure that whatever orders were put in are being completed. And then if there's an order that is not complete or that it is not correct, the nurse has to be the front line to say this isn't correct because our main goal is to make sure that our patients have good care. And while they're in our care, and we're doing the best for them. So it's more than just give me a pill or give me a shower. It's so much critical thinking, and that's important for anyone who wants to become a nurse. You have to have critical thinking skills because you have to know why something you see something present, why it's happening, and how you can manage what's happening.
And I think it's really important that we get that out there, right? And I love that you use the word frontline because a lot of people, when COVID came, they didn't understand why the nurses were all overworked and extremely burnt out because they were on the front line. They were doing a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And I think it's really important that we get that message out there that nurses are not just, give a pill, like you said, or give you a shower.
yeah.
There's so much more that you can learn from them. And for all the viewers out there and the listeners that will watch the replay, thank a nurse because they do a lot that you might not even realize that they're doing. If you're pushing that bell, like hurry up and come to me, they might be taking care of 10 other things. So
Mhm.
I really want to get the message out there with your tea time, Gwendolyn, is the importance of nursing, you know, and
Yeah.
understanding and having more patience towards nurses.
The
We get
medical system cannot work without nurses. It'll never work.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So Gwendolyn, you do this event with your bold and bold black and beautiful event. You do a croc and formal gown. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So the name of the event is the Croc Ball.
The
And so
croc
I
ball.
don't know if you've seen over the last few years, there's been a surge in something called the sneaker ball, where people would dress up in formal gear and then they would wear sneakers. So we took a play off of that. And so nurses, we come together. This is our second year. And we dress in formal wear and then we wear Crocs on our feet. Even if you're not a nurse and you attend, you get to walk in our shoes, literally our shoes that we wear, and celebrate nurses. And then at this year's Croc Ball, we will be handing out scholarships for students who are in nursing school.
Oh, that is truly amazing.
Yeah,
And I love that you had said walk in our shoes. I
yeah,
really, until you walk in someone's shoes, you really don't understand it, right?
yeah, true.
Yeah. And I love Crocs. Like, I don't have a pair. I'm too scared to get a pair. I don't know why I'm scared to get a pair of Crocs, but I think I'm gonna get a pair of Crocs. And
Yes.
uh, so could you tell us a little bit about these scholarships?
So we have, it's not a large scholarship. Each student will get $500, but we are what I like to call a last ditch funding source. So once you've exhausted all of your grants and all of your loans, we want to come in at the end of that, because nursing school is expensive. One book could be $300.
Wow.
Lab supplies, your stethoscope alone could be close to 200. We want to come in at the end and give you money, for anything that you use it for. There's people who go to school and don't live on campus and they have to pay their rent. If that's what you have to pay, then that's what you have to pay to ensure that you are going to stay in school and one less stressor is removed. So we do have regulations, but we don't have all the barriers that other scholarships have because we want to make sure that you are successful in completing your program.
Well, little impacts make a difference, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have to always be a big amount. You
Hmm.
start off small and you grow each and every year. This is only your
And we,
second year, so I think that's pretty amazing. We do have
yeah.
a question here from O'Kelly, so I'm going to show it to you. And it says, it is an amazing event. How can someone support the crock ball even if they can't attend?
So if you go to our website, there is a donate button on there, so you can, donate to our organization for our crock ball.
So if they go to the website, and the
Yes.
website is listed here on the live, and it'll be in the description box for anybody who's listening to the audio. So all of the good stuff will be there. Uh, Again, I really want to thank you, Gwendolyn, for everything you're doing. So now I want to get into your T. So if I give you the word TEA, what three words would you give me and why?
Okay, so I'm going to say thankful. In everything you do, you have to remain grateful for what you have. So I try to be thankful in everything that I do. Empathetic because I always want to be caring for other people and, aware of their feelings, that they have. And then I was going to say affirmations, but I'm going to say affirming, because I really feel like one of my gifts is encouraging others. So I always want to make sure that I am, pouring into people, something positive and something that they can use, going forward.
And what would you give me for E?
Did I say empathetic?
No, but
I
you got
did.
it
I did. I, I think I did.
now. And why empathetic?
Because I always want to consider people's feelings, right? I always want to make sure, um, yeah, that I'm considering others in every interaction that I have with them.
Well, and it sounds like a good, strong nurse. She serves a good, strong tea.
Yeah,
You're
I hope so.
thankful and empathetic and affirming. And I think those are three things that a nurse needs to have, right? They need to be grateful
Yes.
for their
Yeah.
patients. Uh, and you build a bond with your patients. Do you have a story that you'd like to share with us over the 19
Hmm.
years you've worked that really touched your heart?
Let me see. I have a story about an older. So my favorite, I think, discipline is geriatrics. I love working with older people. One of my favorites, I should say. I love working with older people because there's always an opportunity to learn. So we had, and it's always an opportunity to see who they really were, especially if they have a little bit of dementia. I had a client. Well, he was a client. He was in a long term care facility, and he used to make me get him a ginger ale every day. And then he would sit at the nurse's station and he would drink, and and I'm like, what is going on? He thought that he was going to the bar, the tavern every day, and I was getting him a cold one. And so I'm like, people revert back to what they did and who they were previously. So I just love things like that. You get to see how people work. But there's so many stories that I could tell. And a lot of them touched my heart, but I just can't pinpoint one. But that one was cute. I loved him.
And I love and dementia and Alzheimer's is a really hard one, right?
It
Because
is.
they slowly lose who they are, and family members,
It's
I
hard on the family. It's definitely hard on the family. When, especially if you've been married for 20 years and the person you've loved all these years do not recognize you, and you're trying to help them, but you can't. Right. So it's really hard on the families.
So, what has been your hardest patient in the 19 years? The hardest story that you've had?
I don't know.
Have you
I
ever,
think
Gwendolyn, like, do you work like in the ICU and that as well? Like,
I do not know.
okay.
No. I did work in the hospital for years, but that's what I'm talking about transitioning. I knew I did not want to stay there. I did not want to be the nurse who was 60, couldn't retire, bad back, trying to take care of others when I was barely making it at work, things like that. You see those things? No. But I did work in a hospital and I've worked in long term care for years. So there's a lot of things. You've seen people pass away. I've seen people pass away. I've seen people have seizures. I've seen so much of it. And, people think that's just a part of the job. Where do we put that at the end of the day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of things. I don't know if one is worse than the other. It's just all traumatic,
Well,
pretty
and,
much.
and what do nurses do with all this traumatic? Like, it's got to be hard. Like when you go home
Unfortunately,
from work.
yeah, it's draining, and unfortunately, it's probably a lot of stuffing. You know, once you see it, you still have to perform the job. You don't get 10 minutes to go cry in the corner, and you don't get. I remember when I first became a nurse, and I still did it. But when I first became a nurse, I was crying, people dying. I'm praying over the families and things like that. But unfortunately, at times, there's no time to do that anymore. You have to go on to the next thing. So I still pray for my families and the people I'm in contact with in the bad situations. But a lot of times nurses don't have that. It's the next bell's going off or the next medication is due. You just have to keep going.
So, what's the difference between a nurse practitioner in a private practice and a hospital?
In a private practice. So, a nurse practitioner, I guess I should talk about what nurse practitioners can do. So, as a nurse practitioner, I can see patients just like the doctor.
Okay.
Some states don't require that there's an overseeing physician. You just practice on your own. So, I can have my own clinic, I can see my own patients, I can write my own prescriptions, right? In my state, Pennsylvania, I can have my own clinic, but I have to have an overseeing physician who I believe comes in monthly and looks at my books and looks at everything. He oversees what I do. But when you work in a private practice, it depends on how the doctor has the office set up. You could be a nurse practitioner that just sees clients or patients in the clinic, in their office, or you can be a nurse practitioner who sees patients in the office and rounds in the hospital. So for the doctor, so it just depends on how the office is set up and what your job entails.
Well, thank you for sharing that because
Hmm.
not everybody knows what the difference is, right? And I
Yeah.
think we really need to get that education out there because there's so many different levels, so many different types. Like you said right
Hmm.
at the beginning of the show, there's 2 4 years masters. A lot of people don't know these things. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, um, so for any of the viewers out there and listeners out there, if you'd like to know more, listen in on this tea time, share it with a friend. If you know somebody who's going into nursing, and they might not know all these things, get informed. Get that education out there. Um, so I want to get into your favorite color and your one word because I know that we gotta scoot you out soon because you are at work. So I want to get into all of those things because I really want to make sure that I get everything with you to this morning, Gwendolyn. So your favorite color is orange. Why orange?
Oh, it's such a weird, probably story if my sister's on here. So I don't know why it's my favorite color. I just remember there was this girl at church, and she was a darker complexion. Her name is Margie. And she used to always wear like bright lipsticks, like pinks and all of that. So when I became a teenager, there was this fashion fair lipstick, and there was this color. It was Olay orange, and I loved it. I mean, it was like my favorite thing. And so I was like, "This is my color. It looks nice on me. The lipstick looks nice on me, and that is what it is." So it started when I was young.
I always love when the guests have a favorite color. Their favorite color has a personal story to it. It's not just like,
Mhm.
oh, it's the water, it's the sky. It
No.
actually reminds you of something, or it's like it changed my life. Uh, it
Mhm.
really makes an impact, and that's how we look at colors, right? We look at different things as well. We open our minds and the perspective of a color. Sometimes you'll
Mhm.
see, oh, it's orange. Okay, but what does that orange represent? What does it remind you of?
Mhm.
So when's the last time you wore orange lipstick?
Well, it's probably like a month or two ago.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not afraid of it. I'll wear it.
I think orange would be popping, like really bold, right?
Especially in the summer when you get a nice tan. It looks nice. I love
Oh,
orange.
and it just brightens you up, right? Like you can't say orange and not be happy, right?
I would hope not.
So you gave me the word bubbly for the word to describe you as a person. Why bubbly?
Yeah. I don't know. I like to laugh. I'm silly. I like to have fun. So that's usually me. Unless you catch me on a busy day, then it might be grumpy, but
It'll be a
every
grumpy
day,
giggle.
most times it's bubbly.
So I also noticed that you do coaching. So what kind of coaching do you do?
So when I opened my home care agency, someone really poured into me how to run my agency. And I thought, there's so much information out here that a lot of people don't know. I should start coaching. So I started a program called Beyond the Bedside. And the thought behind that is nurses are no longer chained to the bedside. We don't have to work in hospitals. There's so many areas out here and things that we can do that we can go beyond the bedside. So I try to do coaching, affirming nurses, letting them know different areas that they can work in. And another component of that is if someone is interested in opening a home care agency, I take them from the beginning to the application process where we complete the application and they're ready to submit to the state.
So when you get, do you have like job opportunities or training or anything like that through the coaching?
Job opportunities, no. If someone needed some information that I could just forward to them about opportunities that I know about, then sure. But that's not a direct part of the coaching. But on our Facebook, we have a group called hashtag B3N. And we do a lot of sharing of information in the group. If someone knows about a job or an opportunity, it's posted. And we do a lot of just random talk about nursing, life in general, because a lot of times we don't get to decompress and we need a safe space where we can talk about what's going on in nursing and what's going on just sometimes in life. So that's where we do a lot of sharing there. But as far as the coaching, back to that, and I'm sorry, my throat is scratching.
That's okay. You're doing amazing.
But as far as the coaching, it's a lot of affirming because we cannot move forward in going beyond the bedside until we have a shift in mindset. And so I love to teach about mindset shifts.
We have a comment here for you, Gwendolyn. It says,
Hmm.
"Thank you for the powerful affirmations, the bold, the black, and beautiful, and then no longer by the bedside." These are really strong taglines. Like really strong words and statements.
Yeah.
And even the word frontline. You're right there. You feel it all. You do it all, and
Hmm.
and you're right in the front, right? So, what message would you like to leave to all the viewers and listeners out there today?
Be kind to a nurse. Next week is Nurses Week. Not saying you have to go out your way and send your favorite nurse anything. If I'm your favorite nurse, send me something. Uh,
Just putting it out there.
but be kind to nurses. They're really out here trying to make sure that every patient, every client, every consumer is receiving the best care that they can. Yeah.
We also have another question here for you, Gwendolyn. Is there a nursing network uh, department?
So we have the way it's set up is we do a lot on Facebook. Um, our group name on Facebook is hashtag B3N. We do on our website have a where you can get up to date information if you sign up for our email list. But the majority of it is there. That's within the group that we do a lot of things. So that's where we discuss the crockball. That's where we discuss the scholarships, job opportunities. All of that is done within our Facebook group.
We also have another question here. How can we get a hold of you for Lane's home care services?
So our email is Lane LANEHHC @gmail.com. Now, is that for services for a client or to learn how to open an agency? I
Uh,
can't
they
see
just
the question.
they just wanted to know how to get a hold of your services. I'm not sure if they're in the area.
Oh, sure.
So your service is only done in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, correct?
They're done in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yes, we have surrounding areas as well, but it's not done in any other state. With the hope that maybe we'll have one in Georgia soon.
And do you have products that you sell?
I do. So we have a nurse line of clothing, a lot of hoodies. It says the nurse face on it. It's a play off the North Face, the nurse face. And then we do have a lip gloss line. The main one we have out now is called Saline. Everything I do is a little nod to nursing. Makeup sponges, instead of them being makeup sponges, they're called 4x4s because that's what nurses use. We have all kind of products. You have to really go on the website and check it out. Now, upcoming, we were supposed to do this next week, but it's going to get pushed back. I don't know if you're aware of a scoop sale. Do you know what a scoop sale is?
No.
So on TikTok, it's like this fad where people pay for a scoop of something. So sometimes they get scoops of like crystals, sometimes they get scoops of makeup, anything. So for our scoop sale, we are just, you're going to pay for a scoop. We'll have prepackaged scoops already set up, and it could be anything from my nursing, my student nurse journal to some gear, hats, anything like that could be in your scoop. And once I get your order on a certain day, which I'll post the day, you will go on our Facebook group, we'll go live, and then I will show you what's in your order and package it on live, and you will get it shipped out to you. So that's
So we have.
coming up.
Are you excited about that?
I'm excited. It's something new. I love to stay with the trends. I love trends. So it's something new.
So are you on TikTok?
I am.
And how do you feel about TikTok?
I don't know. I haven't gotten it all together yet. I'm not. I like to. I'm a bird watcher. I like to see what's going on. So I watch everything, and if I feel like I can do it, I'll do it. Sometimes I'm over ambitious, but yeah, I'm a looker. Looky loo. Is that what they call them? That's me.
Yeah, as you were describing the scoops, I was like, "Oh, that's what I watch. I watch, and it gets me for hours, and I have to get away from it. Is the scooping of the gems and the stones,
Yes, that's
and I'm
it.
just
So
like,
we
"Oh
will
my
have
god,
some.
that's a good scoop." And then I'm thinking, I'm not even getting that scoop. Why am I watching this?
Yeah, I love the scoops.
Yeah, it's so it's for me it's transformation, and like the transformation of the scoop, right? Each scoop is different. You never
Yeah,
get the same scoop, and I'm
yeah,
all about different, right? I love the different.
yeah,
um when we serve different and we bring different, we get different results, and
yeah.
that's
You can't
exactly what
grow
you do,
staying the
right?
same.
And that's what a nurse does, right? Each patient is different, not one story
Yeah.
is the same, right?
There's never the same story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do have a couple more comments here. They want to
Okay.
thank you for your services. um,
Thank you.
and they would like to know how they could get involved with the ball, almost similar to what O'Kelly asked, how they can get involved with the ball, or how they can get involved with the scholarship. I'm guessing they want to might help with the
So
scholarship.
if you want to donate, you can go to our website, www.b3ns.biz. There is a donate button. If you want information about how to donate as far as our deck, like we have a scholarship letter, we can definitely send it out to you. You would just let me know, email me at b3nnurses@gmail.com. Leave your information. I can get in contact with you and make sure you get everything that you need. And if you would like to, because we had nurses come in from out of state, the O'Kelly Factor came in as well. You can travel and enjoy this event. It's an amazing event. And each year we just plan for it to get better and better and grow and grow.
So this event is only for nurses, or is it open to the public?
No. So we want everyone to come out and show your support for what nurses are doing in our city and other cities just in general. What we do, what we stand for, and how we give back. Because with the scholarships, we will be giving back to others.
So we have a question here. Because you're on TikTok, do you do any of the nurses dances? I'm guessing that's a trend.
No, there was just a there was just a TikTok of this nurse outside dancing, and her patient was like, "When I'm looking for my nurse, this is what she's doing." And she was outside dancing, and then he coded. Like I've seen it. I'm not doing it. No way.
I guess that's a trend because I've never heard of it, but there's so many
It,
trends out there.
there's so many things. They're funny. It's fun when people take like little shots at nurses. Then I give them the side eye, like we're really not doing that. But okay.
So, is there a sisterhood within the nurses in the department that you
Absolutely.
work?
Absolutely. You have to. You
So,
have to have, if you work in a hospital, you have to have a group of people that you trust and that trust you. And with nursing, once doctors start to know you and they know the work that you do and they know they can rely on you, it's a good thing. They trust you with their patients. You have to build trust within the area that you work. Absolutely.
well, it's all like a teamwork, right? So you got to know the team in order to support
We
the team.
want it to be teamwork. It's not always teamwork, but you try to foster an atmosphere where there's teamwork. Yes, you try to make that happen. Yeah.
So, with everything that you've done in your life, Gwendolyn, what is the top moment of your life?
Ooh, of my life,
Of your life?
I don't know. I'm a strong believer in God, so that's number one. My faith is the most important thing to me, and then probably being a wife and mother. All of this other stuff, I love it, and I love helping people. But at the end of the day when the lights go out and I have to say my prayers and be with my family. That's it. That's it for me. That's good.
So you
Yeah.
mentioned you have children. So how do your children feel about you being a nurse?
I don't know. I think they like it. They like the benefits. I'm probably sure they do. But when they were younger, me and my husband always had a schedule. Like he would work nights and I would work my 12-hour shifts. Or when I was in school, I would do the weekends and he would, we would switch off during the week. I know for some time when I worked in a hospital, it was hard because I was gone from my family for 12 hours. Although about 7 of those hours they were in school. When I came home, I would say, I need 15 minutes before you start. Like I needed to have my 10 minutes. And, as a kid, that's not always fair. But that was the reality of the life we were living. Like I had to help take care of my family. So, um, I think I went around the bush and forgot the question.
No.
But that was it. Oh, that was the hardest part, being away from my family. And then when I was in school, I was off all week and I went to school all day on Wednesday. This is when I was going back for my master's degree. And I worked every weekend. So everything happens on the weekend, track, everything. And so I missed a lot of those things, working the weekend program
So is there any nursing programs out there?
for.
I'm not sure. They just want to know if there's any nursing programs.
For school. There's
Yes,
tons.
I'm guessing.
For school, there's tons. I know if you're in Pennsylvania, there's a health system called UPMC, and they now offer free tuition, like no payments. I'm sorry, you pay for your first semester, and then after your first semester, they pay for everything, and that's amazing. Of course, you're going to have to be committed to their health system for a year or two, but I believe after you've been there for a year, you can move around if you need to. So free schooling is always good. Always. I wish I had that option. But free schooling is always good. So there's
And,
tons of nursing programs.
and Gwendolyn, how did you find out about nursing?
I think I always knew about it. I always wanted to, like I said, be a pediatrician, but then I wanted to be a nurse. And I think I was scared of it. I became an aide and then I wanted to be an LPN and I started the program but had to stop. And then I was like, you know what? I just want to be a registered nurse. And so our community college had a program, and I went and I said, I don't want to be stuck at the bedside. That was from my 2 year program. I knew that. So I went back and got my bachelor's degree. And even with your bachelor's degree, you can still, there's a high chance that you'll still be at the bedside. And I went back to become a nurse practitioner. And the reason why I became a nurse practitioner is because I always think about the distrust that African Americans have for the health system. It can go back to the Tuskegee Airmen. It could just go back to so many different things. And I wanted to be a face to potential patients and clients to let them know you can trust me and I am here. And so we always say that we want to make sure that we're at the table so that we can serve our communities. And that's what we do. That's what we set out to do.
We have a question here about fake nurses. How do you feel about nurses just getting degrees online and pretending to be a nurse?
Who's asked that?
No clue. This person won't register. They won't show who they are, so it's just a circle.
Okay. So the whole fake nurse scandal is ridiculous. I think that it's horrible that you would take a class, one class, just to learn how to take a board so that you could pass the boards and become a nurse. When we have cried, sweat, been away from our family, done all these things to obtain an education and sit for the licensing the right way. I think every one of those nurses should be fired and they should be happy that they are not taking legal action. That's my thought. There's no way I worked and obtained hundreds of $1,000s worth of school loans to make sure that I could take care of my family. I could do what I love and be a good, committed nurse to this community, to this profession. And you tried to cheat the system. Yeah.
They want to say thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure who they are. They just said thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think we really need to understand, the work that goes behind it. It's not a joke. You don't just go to a 30-minute class and become a nurse or become a doctor. So I really
Yeah.
want to thank you, Gwendolyn, for that. You've given 19 years of your service, and that's like an insult,
Yeah.
So I really want whoever's doing that out there, stop doing these things, give a little bit
The
of
other
respect to.
the other thing is I heard that one of the health systems, and I'm saying allegedly because we don't want to get sued, one of the health systems asked that the nurses step down and the nurses refused. I feel like because there's such a shortage in nurses, this may get swept under the rug or these nurses may still be allowed to practice. And if it was your mom who is being taken care of, but I want them to ask the question to
Yep.
themselves, if your mom was in a critical situation or just needed care, would you want someone who is inadequately um, educated to care for them? And the answer would probably be no. So I think these health systems should not ask people to step down. They should make them be stepped down. I mean, they should make them step down. And then any other action that happens after that, then it's on
Exactly.
them.
And again, if anybody knows Miss Liz, you know that my daughter's in nursing, and my daughter went to school for 2 years. So, it's not just a 30-minute class. It is a lot of work. There is a lot of hardship, and there is a lot of training
Mhm.
and, placements and getting to know different areas where you want to go, if you want to go a little further. Because you mentioned in the beginning of the show, Gwendolyn, that there's 2 years, 4 years, masters. So each
Mhm.
type and different degree is a lot of work, a lot of time that these nurses are putting in. So I really want to thank you again, Gwendolyn, for all of that stuff that you've done, all of your services over the 19 years, and all of the coaching and mentoring, and and getting the word out there that that it takes a lot to be a nurse.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
Gwendolyn, any final words you have for the viewers out there that you would like to know, that you would the message you would like to give to them?
I don't really have a message. I just want to tell everyone with the COVID and everything else, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Use your best judgment when you're out and about. I know everyone's lifting the mask protocols and all of those things, but we are, and I mean humans, we are one big community. So we have to do what is best for each other. And we know that those are things that are within us. We don't need someone to tell us, you know, that if you're sick, not to go out, not to infect a bunch of different people. We just have to do what's best for each other.
Well, thank you so much. And it was
Oh,
a
you're
real
welcome.
pleasure having you on Tea
Thank
Time this
you. Thank
morning.
you. Thank
And
you for
I
having
think,
me.
you know, we don't do this enough. We don't have this open communication and discussions on good topics and getting education out there. So I really want to thank you, Gwendolyn, for this tea time,
Oh,
because
thank you for
we
having
really
me.
got some really good, strong points out there. We really got
Yeah.
some really good, strong education out there. Again, education. It's not 30 minutes. It is a couple of years. It is 12-hour long hour shifts. So Gwendolyn, if anybody would like to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you?
They can reach me on our website. Like I said, it's b3nnurses@gmail.com. You can sign up on the website for our email list. You can join our Facebook group is hashtag B3N. And I'm on Instagram as B3N Nurses. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you again for what you're doing. And thank you for tuning in from work. I really appreciate
Uh,
that. So, and you look good in blue. I'd like to
oh,
see you in the orange lipstick.
I have to send you a picture.
So this morning on Tea Time, when Gwendolyn has shared a really good, strong cup of tea. She shared thankful, affirming, and empathetic. So those are three things that a nurse needs. So if you know of a nurse, or your family, you have a family member that's a nurse, just say thank you. Be kind. And again, Gwendolyn did put it out there. If she is your favorite nurse, next week is Nurses Week, so you bring her a little something, a
Or
little.
grab something off the website. Grab
There
something.
you go. The help, right?
And, bless your favorite nurse with something. There's a lot of things on there, so go check it out.
Awesome. Well, I really
Oh,
want to thank you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed my morning. And good morning. And get your breakfast. Make sure that you eat healthy and stay healthy. Get your exercise, get that 30-minute walk in there. Take time for yourself. And I will be back at 3 p.m. this afternoon with the second tea time with a returning guest from season 2. That's right. Constance Woolard is coming back in, and she'll be sharing some good updates in that. And then at 7 p.m., I have a couple from Texas. So this week we are doing all United States. Next week we'll be in different countries, but this week we are all in United States. So this morning U.S., afternoon U.S., and evening U.S. So we will be bringing different flavors. But tonight's tea time will be mystery romance. So there's a lot of things that we bring, different flavors, different topics all the time. So if you'd like to know more about all of these tea times, you can check out Miss Liz's YouTube channel or check out my website at www.misslizsteatimes.com. And if you'd like to be a guest in the future, because Miss Liz is completely booked for 2023, let's get that out there. Unless somebody cancels, I do not have any space left for this year. So
But you're
thank
gonna have
you.
back on closer to the crock ball so we can talk about the deets of that.
Right. And I always encourage my guests to come back and return and give me updates. So if you have new programs or anything like that, Gwendolyn, I always encourage my guests to come back and share that. If you write a book or you create a program, you create, or you have an event that's coming up, and if you don't have time to jump on and have a cup of tea with Miss Liz, you can always give Miss Liz the updates, and Miss Liz will do an update on you. So
All
I
right,
really
guys. Great day.
well, thank you so much, Gwendolyn. I'm going to let you go and I'm going to let you scoot out. And I want to thank all the viewers and all of the questions that came in. If you're watching the replay, please push hashtag replay. Let me know where you're tuning in from so I can give you a shout out. I want to give a big shout out to O'Kelly Factors for this morning's guest. Incredible young lady as well. Check her out. She has amazing clients as well. And we want to get her guests out there. So if you have a podcast and you would like a guest, reach out to O'Kelly Factor, and she would be more than happy to get you a client, a guest on your show. And I'm going to sit back and have a cup of tea, get this all uploaded and going, and then we're going to be back at 3 p.m. for a second tea time. And that's just how we roll. So it's a new month, new fresh start. Miss Liz is going to have her breakfast, and then I'm going to go for my little quick walk before I have to get into the next one. And then I will be back at 3 p.m. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the second tea time of this week on May 4th. Thank you, and have a good night.